All right, awesome. Now, today I wanted to talk about the art of the conversation. And so, what I'm going to do over the next few months is I'm going to be bringing up I'm calling them advanced strategies on how to close more deals, right? Because many of you have been in this industry long enough where you've heard the normal stuff, right? Make your calls, post on social media, door knock, like all this other stuff, right? And by the way, we just did a class last week, Tuesday. It's on YouTube. We did a whole session on social media strategy and understanding the different platforms. So if you want to get better on social media, that's in there. Pretty solid stuff. We did business planning about a month ago, and we did it 2 weeks before that due. So we did part one and part two, right? And bringing in business planning to your business. Look, if you're not planning appropriately, you're planning to fail. You guys have all seen it before. It's not a meme, it's real shit. Okay. So I want to spend some time with you guys today. And the first journey for me, when I think about what we should be discussing when we're talking about advanced strategies, is the art of the conversation. So many people, so many salespeople truly do not understand how to have a conversation with people that they're trying to do business with. Now, when I say we're labeling this class the art of the conversation, winning the meeting, right? Ideally, you want to win meetings when you're meeting with people that you want to do business with, whether you're raising seed money for a project or just trying to get a listing or a buyer to work with you. It's all the same strategy, right? It's all the same strategy, because the idea is that we want to be able to pitch people on our services, but we don't want to vomit on them everything that we do, right? Because we bring a lot to the table, baby. We're real estate professionals, right? We bring a lot to the table. We bring marketing, we bring social media, we bring professional photography, videography, drones, 3D, Matterports. We could just throw up all over people and they won't have an understanding of what we're talking about, right? And even more so, if you truly don't understand the psychological properties of the different types of personalities, which is another stage that we'll be digging into later on down the road, right? And so today we're gonna master the art of what I call the 10-80-10, the 10-80-10 rule. And this is designed to maximize the impact that you have in your meetings and in your conversations. Okay. So the key to winning any meeting is not selling somebody. The idea is not to sell people. Like when you go to a listing appointment, you're not selling them on yourselves. You're creating a relationship that makes people want to work with you. Right? When you're sitting with a buyer for a buyer consultation, you're not selling your ability to go open doors. You're presenting the opportunity of a relationship that could result in them purchasing a home. And so we're guiding the conversation so that other people reveal what they truly need. That's the entire goal. That's the entire art of having a true business conversation in this fashion. What are we doing? We're positioning ourselves to truly understand their needs. And that allows us to tailor our message, our pitch precisely to what it is that they actually need, so that we're not throwing up all our services all over them. Some of the stuff that we do can be a total surprise to them. After they hire you and you come with professional marketing material, they can go, wow, I didn't know you do that. You go, of course I do that. And those experiences lead to referral-based systems. That's a whole nother conversation that we'll get into, okay? So let's break this down in a way that we can see it. So this is the way I write this out. Where's my pen? This is the way I write this out. This is your conversation. It's broken down like this. Okay? There's 10% here, 80% here, and 10% here. That's my 10-80-10 rule. Okay? And that's how we'll discuss it for the rest of the conversation today. It's 10-80-10. That's our rule. What are we doing in the 10-80-10 rule? First thing we're doing is, in the beginning, we're executing an understanding of our client. So what do we do in the beginning? We are doing introductions. We're saying hello, getting to know, but this is not a very long period of time. This is actually 4 to 5 minutes if you're having a 45-minute meeting with somebody. If you scheduled yourself for 45 minutes with this person, this is about 4 to 5 minutes of it. What's the next 80%? This is the most important part, is listening. Because when we break this down during the listening phase, we're going to talk about how to ask questions that drive people to creating conversations with you. We're going to get people to really decide they want to communicate their wants, needs, and desires with you, which allows you to move to the last 10%, which is simply pitching. How you pitch your services, your 30-second, 90-second pitch, your elevator pitch that you're going to give them. Here's the crazy part. I don't want you to create a 90-second pitch that you always pitch to people. That's been taught in and out, and that's designed for a very quick, I just met you. We've got about 10 seconds here before you walk away. Let me give you my quick pitch. This pitch is malleable. This pitch changes all the time. And the reason it changes all the time is because your pitch is going to be tailored to what you heard during that 80% period. Fair enough? All right. If you guys are with me so far, type yes in the chat box. If you're with me so far, type yes in the chat box. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So now let's dig into, put my glasses on because I got to read my notes, right? Let's dig into the first part, which is executing the first 10% effectively. So what's the goal of the first 10%? The goal of the first 10% is to establish trust, control the energy, and set the tone. This is where you get to make them feel comfortable with you, but you also get to control the direction of the conversation. You get to control where this conversation goes. So how do we execute this effectively? Number one, mirroring energy, right? Like if somebody comes in and they're pumped and they're excited, like me. If you meet me, I'm going to be pumped. I'm going to be excited. I'm ready to rock and roll. What are we talking about? Let's do it. Match that energy. Because if you come at me with, it's not going to work so well for me, right? Like I'm already like, I don't know if I could work with this person. Because I'm here and they're here and that's okay for them, but not for me. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to connect with them. And I'm going to be running around houses and they're going to be 10 spaces behind me. And they're not going to understand what I'm saying because I speak like this all the time. And I'm just going to go fucking nuts. I'm just being 100% with you, right? And so mirroring energy by matching their tone and their pace is how you keep things in position where they feel comfortable with you. Where you, if they're upbeat, mirror it. If they're reserved, mirror that too. Ease in on the reserved. So when people are upbeat, it's very easy to mirror that because they're upbeat. You want to be upbeat with them, right? When someone's reserved, the idea is to not only match them, but ease your way into having a conversation with them because reserved people typically are already doubting whether or not they're capable of trusting you. Before they walked in the door, by the way, okay, they already said, I don't even know this person. I don't trust them. They already said it. They didn't give you a chance. You have to now ease your way in and build that. It also gives you the opportunity, your first 10%. You're doing personal connection first, right? So people do business with people they like. We've had that conversation a million times, right? So you're going to use relevant icebreakers, okay? Some of those relevant icebreakers are finding common ground. Finding common ground is probably one of the most important things you can do. You can find common ground through industry news, mutual connections, shared experiences, things of that nature. For instance, I'll tell you this. My wife and I went to a listing presentation. I love this story because it is the most prevalent story when I say personal connection first, using common ground, right? So we go to this listing appointment, and it was the absolute most awkward listing appointment we've ever been to, ladies and gentlemen, okay? We were standing around the kitchen counter in the kitchen. We were never asked, let's sit down, let's talk. We never went, no couch in the living room, no kitchen table, no put your stuff on the counter. It was a very awkward situation. And in that awkward situation, my wife was taking the lead on pitching our services and getting the listing appointment taken care of. I was actually there because I missed being out on the road at the time. And so I asked her if I could go with her. It was actually her listing appointment. And so we're there in the house, we're talking, blah, blah. And we're looking around the house. She sees pictures of kids. She's trying to create that connection because we have kids, et cetera, et cetera. Then I said, can we get a tour of the house? Because we haven't seen the house yet. Is that okay? And the gentleman looks at his wife and looks at me and looks at his wife. He goes, okay. And these are reserved folks where they're feeling like, I don't trust you. Why would I show you around my house? Right. And so the first place he takes us is his office. And this office, I promise you, was the holy grail of New York Yankees memorabilia. I'm from the Bronx. I walked in there and I went, oh my God, is this all original? Are those real signatures? Is that really Mickey Mantle's glove? I went nuts. I walked into the room, I went nuts. When he saw my interest in his room and all the baseball memorabilia that he had in there for the New York Yankees, his vibe completely changed, right? He went from this super reserved guy to being super upbeat. Oh my God, let me show you this. And I hide this in here because this bat is worth a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. And he's opening safes and shit to show me what's inside the safe, right? Like baseball cards that are worth like $40,000, $50,000 and, original baseball bats signed by, whoever. And I'm going, oh my God, like this is insane. And I told him, I said, I would not change a thing because I know there's a lot of New Yorkers moving to Miami. And with our luck, we'd show the house to one of those folks, right? And if they're a Yankees fan, we're in trouble, right? But we can have fun with it, or if they're a Mets fan, we're in trouble. If they're a Yankees fan, they might want to include some of this shit with the purchase of the house. So be careful with that, right? And he looks at me, he goes, I'm not getting rid of any of this. I go, I would never let you do it. I would never let you do it, right? And I said, but we charge 6% commission. If you feel like bonusing me a baseball card or something, I'm okay with that. And we had a really fun conversation, and then we got the listing, right? And so what we did was we found common ground together that we can connect. Usually kids worked. It didn't work in this one, right? You got similar furniture. They have a pool. How often do you use the pool? I never use the pool. That's funny. My wife hates the pool, right? We're finding that connection. Okay. Then observation. So we're comment on something about them, like if they chose the location, comment about that location. If you're in the house, comment about how beautiful the house is, right? Or the background, or something on them. Their nice shirt that they're wearing. Dude, that's a really nice shirt, man. Comment on something that makes them feel good. That's an icebreaker that creates that personal connection. Another one is humor. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a comedian. I'm a clown. I love telling jokes all the time. I'm the worst comedian, but I like to be in a happy mood. I like to make people laugh, right? Because I feel like laughter really breaks ice, right? When people come into a meeting and they're all business, all business, all business, it's a boring meeting. Like, I want to have some fun with you. Let's have some fun. That's my personality. So oftentimes I use humor to make things a little more lighthearted and make it less controversial or less, how do I want to say this? Less combative, right? Because every new meeting that you go into, especially a listing appointment, it's a little combative. They're like, we have this house and this is, we're going to choose who we hire and, we're going to need discounts and we're going to have this and we're going to have that. And you're coming in with, listen, I just want to help you out here. Like, look at all this cool shit I do, right? And so I use humor to break that combative spirit. And then people tend to lean into that. They laugh, they giggle, they have fun, and the ice starts to melt off their shoulders, right? And then we're positioning our intent. So we're setting expectations for the meeting and making it feel, or without making it feel transactional, okay? That they're not another number in the system. I hate when I see real estate professionals treat people like another number. You cannot make people feel like they're just the next product in the conveyor belt of your sales system. They have to feel like you want to be with them. You say things along the line like, I'm excited to chat with you today, right? I want to make sure this is super valuable for you. What would make this conversation the biggest win for you? The subtlety gives you control while you're making them feel like the meeting is truly about them, which it is. Yes, the end of the meeting, what you're looking for is an outcome that services both sides, right? The outcome is, I want this listing, or I want this buyer to sign this buyer agency agreement, or whatever, or I want this investor to buy his next 80 investment properties with me, whatever the meeting is, or I want this bank to give me all their REOs, or I want this attorney to direct me to all his short sales, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? And so you see a lot of that in the system, and you need to figure out how to make it about their needs and understanding that it's beneficial for both sides. Okay, your meeting is beneficial for both sides. Now, here's some advanced strategies on this, right? I'm keep putting my glasses on and off, so bear with me. Here's some advanced strategies for this, right? Cold meetings. We're going to use something called the 4 framework, okay? And this helps break barriers super quickly, right? So here we go. This is the 4 framework. Remember the number 4, F-O-U-R. All right, first thing is family. Right? Are they married? Do they have kids? Are they here with family? Do they have a lot of family in the area? Were they born and raised in this area? Right? Those kinds of things. O is occupation. Showing interest in what they do for a living, what they love and hate about their job or their occupation. That helps give a true understanding of what they need and what they desire. Okay? Then understanding is you. Understanding. Okay, understanding is, what is your biggest challenge? Help me understand what you're trying to achieve, right? And then recreation. Right? What do you do for fun? What do they do outside of the workspace? What do they do outside of having meetings with people like you? Right? What are they doing on their personal time? What do they like? Do they like skiing? Do they like snowboarding? Do they like, going to the beach? Do they like jogging? Are they workout fanatics? Are they into Pilates? Are they into painting and art and things of that nature? Do they musician? Do they have a band that they play with on Saturday nights? Figure that stuff out, right? By the way, this is your first 10%, okay? Everything we just discussed right now falls right into here. And I know it sounds like a lot, but when you break it down, it really isn't. It isn't a lot. This conversation could happen very quickly. And I would challenge you to do this role play style, right? Listen to the first part of this meeting, go back to the recording, listen to the first part of this meeting, and then find you a colleague to role play this with. That's going to be your biggest win, I promise you, right? Because I always say this, especially to my team and my coaching clients, I go, listen, do not, under any circumstances, role play with your clients. Don't practice on the client, on the real meeting. Come on, y'all, right? Why would you go to the real meeting cold, right? As a matter of fact, when we send you the recorded link for this training, like just put it as a bookmark on your phone so you can find it easily. And every time you're on your way to a buyer consultation or a listing appointment, just listen to this 45-minute presentation. And that way you could just say it out loud, say it out loud. I do it all the time, guys, right? When I teach a class, something like this, or when I'm pre-recording a class, oftentimes I will give the class to myself. Right? So by the time I come to you, baby, I'm warmed up, right? I'm a car that's been sitting outside 15 minutes on waiting for you in the snow. Okay? I'm ready to roll. All right? And most of y'all know what I'm talking about because the only place it's not snowing is Miami, Florida. All right? So let's dig into phase 2, which is this part right here, right? So this is, when we talk about a 45-minute meeting, this is about 35 minutes of the meeting. Right? And the goal is to make them feel heard. The goal is to uncover pain points. The goal is to guide them into self-realization. Help them understand why they're even meeting with you. Because sometimes people, oh, I think we should sell our home. Yeah, let's dig into that. Let's see what that looks like. right? Let's call a couple real estate agents and invite them over so that, we can gauge what, this is going to look like. And now it's your opportunity to guide the conversation in a way where you figure out, because you're doing this psychologically, you figure out why they're even selling to begin with. Why would that idea pop in your head? It's not normal, right? There's a deeper reason, and you need to know that reason, because that reason is going to give you the ammunition for your pitch. All right, so let's go with leading, and so let's do this effectively. We go with leading with strategic open-ended questions. I call these puller questions. It's my word. I call them puller questions. I don't know if it makes sense, but the reason I call them that is because I feel like these are the questions that are pulling information from someone. Some easier than others. Some people you'll ask one question and they'll speak for 35 minutes. Other people, you will ask them a question, they'll speak for a second, and then you got to ask another question, they might go 60 seconds more, and then you ask them another question, they might go 90 seconds more. But you have to have these strategic, open-ended questions that allow them to speak. You cannot ask questions that give one-word answers, because that doesn't help them develop into a conversation, right? So starting broad, like, tell me about your biggest challenges right now. That's a really broad question, by the way, right? That could lead anywhere. They might end up telling you about how their marriage is ending, like, and you're like, whoa, that's not why I came here. But still, information you need to know, right? Because if you know that, then you know why they're selling the house. And you know you got probably 3 deals out of this right now, right? There's theirs and then his, then hers, right? So like, there's an opportunity for you to get a lot of business here, right? Then you get to dig deeper. You ask questions like, how does that affect your day-to-day? And then you get clarity and confirmation. So C and C, clarity and confirmed, right? So if I understand this correctly, your biggest struggle is blah, 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 right? This is confirmation that you understand what they're saying. So every time they tell you a story, you give them understanding of their story. They want to feel heard. That's the biggest piece here. They want to feel heard. They want to feel like you truly understand why you're sitting there to begin with. Now, active listening techniques, right? And this is the part where you make them feel heard, okay? Paraphrasing. It sounds like what you're saying is, right? So you get to paraphrase stuff where they give you this like 5-minute explanation story, and then you just kind of paraphrase it into a shorter version. It sounds like what you're saying is that you guys are not going to be able to utilize this home together again. It looks like you're both going to have to move, right? And so you're probably going to need help on the exit as well, and I'd be happy to help you guys with that, right? Are you guys going to need help with the exit? That's going to lead to further conversation, right? One might say, no, you sell the house. I have my friend that's gonna, and then he's gonna say, yeah, I'll work with you, right? Like, I've had all kinds of different things happen to me. I've helped both sides. I've helped one side. I've been appointed by the court to help somebody. Like, you be in this business long enough, you'll be in several different positions, right? Then mirroring. So mirroring helps really, it helps people feel like not only they're heard, but you're interested, right? And so repeat their last few words as a question to keep them talking, right? That's it. Just repeat the last few words of their statement into a question, and they feel heard, and it keeps them talking. And when you're mirroring somebody and you're speaking, so mirroring is not only physical, but it's also in the speaking opportunity, right? And mirroring and speaking means that you heard their words and you repeat them back to them. Okay? Because physically, when we're mirroring somebody, we're mirroring excitement, we're mirroring sit back. If they cross their arms, you cross your arms. They lean forward, you lean forward. If they sit back, you sit back. If they're comfortable, you get comfortable. If they're stressed and standing up, you stand up. Hey, are you trying to make more money? Are you not making the amount of money that you desire to make in your real estate career? Well, let me help you with that. See, in order for you to make more money, you have to take more action. In order for you to take more action, you actually have to have a plan to take action on. In order for you to have a plan, you have to have some sort of knowledge of what you're doing so you can help it grow. And what I'm offering you today is not only the knowledge, but also education on how to plan, how to attack, and how to make that money. The Freedom Achiever Academy was designed with the real estate professional in mind. Over a 2.5-year period, we recorded over 300 coaching and training videos to allow you the opportunity to log in and do it at your own pace. You get to study whatever part you want to study, whatever interests you, and wherever you need help, from developing teams to just starting as a brand new agent, learning how to impact sales or communicate with customers or really have a tremendous marketing presence. Go to the freedomachieveracademy.com and start for $9 a month. It is officially cheaper to have an account with the Freedom Achiever Academy than it is to have a Netflix account that serves you no benefit in life. Join the Freedom Achiever Academy, and I promise you, you will walk away with enough education so that you can plan and put things into action and take action in your life and business and put more money in your bank account. So if you want to make more money in the real estate industry, get into it, thefreedomachieveracademy.com. Right? It's so simple. But you just follow the mirror method. Okay? And then labeling. This is the best. Wow. That sounds really frustrating. We just labeled it. We gave that thing that they're going through a label. Wow. I can see how that can be really frustrating. Acknowledging the emotion that's building up for them helps you build up trust with them. Acknowledging the emotion that is building up for them in the back helps you build trust with them. Okay? I'm choking here for a second. Let me get some water. All right. Let's go. Then we're going to guide the conversation with strategic layering. Okay? Here we go. The 3X why rule. Ask why 3 times in different ways to find the real concern. This is fun, okay? This is the 3X why rule, okay? So if somebody comes to you and they say, we're looking to really downsize from this house. And you go, really? Why is that? And then they answer that. And you go, well, why do you feel downsizing would truly be the answer? And then they answer that. And then you ask, well, what if the kids come back? Why would you want to get rid of the house and then you won't have space for them later? And then they'll answer that, right? And so you're asking them why in 3 different ways so that you're dialing down to the actual real concern. Because a lot of times, especially when people don't know you, ladies and gentlemen, they don't know you, right? So a lot of times when they tell you stuff, they're telling you what they want you to know and they're not telling you what you need to know. They're only telling you what they want you to know at the moment. But if you're tactical with this, you can figure out even deeper why they're doing things and understand their true, real concern. That, ladies and gentlemen, is fire for the pitch, right? It's fire for that fuel. Okay? The next thing is the gap strategy. So make them visualize a gap between where they are and where they want to be. It's one of my favorite things to do, right? So it seems to me that right now, you're in a house that's way too big for you. Your kids have already gone off to college. They've moved to different states, so the grandkids are not coming over. You really don't need all this space. And what you're saying to me is that you want to be in a place that is smaller, less maintenance, no grass, maybe a view, maybe a public pool, something that you can use, right? You want something that you can lock the door and leave for a couple weeks to Europe if you want to and not have worries or concerns. You want to sit in your living room and look over the great city, right? You paint that picture for them. So what did I do? I painted the now as pain and the future as pleasure. That's what I did in this gap method. Okay, I painted the now as pain and the future as pleasure. I didn't say anything nice about their big house at that moment. I said it was too big. It was too much maintenance. The kids are gone. They moved to different states. Grandkids are not even coming over. They have so much space, so much to clean. It's just what a horrible situation you're in. I can't believe that you would even deal with this situation right now. Right? And then you paint the other picture. So what I understand is we want to be in a beautiful 2-bedroom condo that you can lock up and leave whenever you want. When you're sitting in your living room, you can look straight and watch TV, or you can look to the side and look out of the great balcony windows and see the city. You want to be walking distance to everything, super low maintenance, no grass, all that great stuff. Beautiful pool, maybe a gym in the building, some great amenities, or a gym walking distance close by. You want to park the car on the weekend and not have to pull it out anymore. What a dream. I understand what you're saying. By the way, that's not the end of it. I understand what you're saying. Does that sound pretty accurate to you? And then you push it right back to them. You feed it to them so that they feed it back to you consistently. Okay? Now, recognizing buying signals, nonverbal and verbal, is super important, because how many salespeople go way past the sale? Right? They got the sale, but they're like, I know you want this, but let me tell you more. Right? But wait, there's more. Right? No, stop. They already said they want to work with you. Like, they're in. If 20 minutes into the meeting, the person looks at you and goes, man, I really like you. I'm down. Let's sell this house together. Don't look at them and go, I hear you, but man, I really feel like I got to finish my 10-80-10 rule, right? Like coach said that if I don't finish the 10-80-10 rule, it's not going to work, right? You know what I mean? Like that's literally what you're saying by not accepting their acknowledgement at that moment. Lean forward, nod, take notes while they're speaking, repeat key points, make them feel mentally processed, okay? Say phrases like, that makes sense. How would that work? And listen for the buying signals and recognize them. Listen for people when they say things along the lines of, yeah, man, I love your marketing. I think this would go a really long way with us. I would stop there. I would go, that makes sense. I completely agree with you. You think it would work in this neighborhood? I think it would. Let them tell you it's going to work in the neighborhood. Let them agree. Let them set the tone, like if they taught you how to market. And go, why don't we just go ahead and get this contract signed so I can order this marketing material ASAP? Right? Advanced strategies. Control without domination. That's really important, right? Many salespeople will overspeak in the listening side of this. They will talk too much. And by talking too much and saying too much about what you do, you begin to dominate the conversation. You're not supposed to dominate the conversation. You're supposed to control the conversation. You control the flow of the conversation. You direct where it goes. You are the steering wheel of this vehicle. Okay? You're the tracks on the train. All right? If they go off topic, you bring them right back. You bring them right back to topic. Wow, that's really interesting what you're saying there, but let's tie that back to how we can solve whatever problem they're bringing up, selling their house or buying a house or whatever it is, right? Okay? Use silence as a weapon. Boy, let me tell you, and Courtney, you've probably heard me say this before, okay? I have several different closing techniques that I teach. All of them are inside of my Freedom Achiever Academy, where I have a whole section on closing techniques, okay? I have one of my absolute favorite close is the uncomfortable close. That's what it's called. Where I ask a question and then I just stay mad quiet and stare at them until the point of that they feel so uncomfortable, they have to give me what I want. And my favorite place to use that is when somebody closes with us and I go to them and say, hey, listen, are you 100% satisfied with our services? Oh my God, I'm so happy. Great. I'm going to send you a link later on so you can give me a wonderful Google review. Would you do that for me? Oh, David, absolutely. I would do that for you. Fantastic. Listen, one more question. You've got plenty of family or friends and they've been seeing what you're going through. Who can you refer me to that's looking to buy or sell right now? Pin drop. Don't say another word after that. Because if you say another word after that, you put your foot in your mouth and you give them an exit. But if you just stare at them mad quiet, they're going to pull up their phone. I don't know. Cousin Richie was looking for, he loved the process. Let me connect you guys by text. And by the way, I guide them in the process. Cousin Richie, man, that's fantastic. Listen, best thing you can do for me, time me and Richie in a text right now. Let them know you're at the closing table and I'm here and I would love to meet him. Do it right now. I'll wait for you. And then I go quiet again. And I just wait again until they do what I'm asking them to do. Right? So after asking a deep question, pause for 3, 5, 10 seconds, as long as it takes. By the way, 5 seconds is a really long time when you ask somebody a question, okay? And then you wait for an answer. 5 seconds. Man, listen, this is 5 seconds. That's 5 seconds. I just counted in my head. 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. That's 5 seconds. That's a long time for somebody to be like, okay, here it is. Whatever you wanted, right? Stop making me feel uncomfortable, okay? But silence is the absolute weapon. It's the best weapon in the world. So if you truly want to know something, ask the deep question and then just shut up. And if you're starting to get anxious with it, then you're not good enough at this technique. You need to practice it more. Do it on your kids. Where were you last night? That's always fun. I got 25-year-olds. She doesn't even have to tell me where she was, and I still use it on her. Okay? So now, here we go. Phase 3, right? So we're good. Give me a yes if we're good with the 80% side of this. Give me a yes in the chat box. Good, love it. Melissa says, thank you. I got some nuggets on the way to a listing appointment. That's awesome. She's like watching this live on the way to the listing appointment. It's fantastic. All right, awesome. We got some good understanding of the 80. So we're good here. Now let's go to the final, the pitch. This is where you actually have to try to sell yourself, where you actually have to try to get them to agree to desire or want to work with you, right? So phase 3 is delivering the perfect pitch, right? The goal here is to position your solution as the only logical choice based on what they just told you. Think about that for a minute, right? If someone else comes after you at this appointment, if someone else comes after you, okay, and they don't use the 10-80-10, and all they do is present, and they do the 100, right? It's 100% done, and then nothing else. They don't even care. They don't care why you're selling. They just know you're selling. And here's what I do to get your house sold because I'm the best, right? They're not going to beat this out because your pitch is going to be 100% formulated on the things that you heard and tying in emotion and tying in product to what you can do for them. Go back to the divorced couple, tying in the emotion of the true understanding and the baby steps that you will take and the understanding that nothing happens without both of them knowing. The understanding that this is a very delicate time in their lives. Pull that emotion into it. Okay? Pull that in. Right? All right. So first thing is, we're just talking about this. Tie your pitch to their pain points. Whatever pain points they gave you, which by the way, it is human nature to talk about negative stuff, unfortunately. Right? It's human nature for when you dig in with somebody, okay? When you're digging in a conversation, when you're doing more listening than you are speaking, it is the nature of that person to move into the pain points that they have right now. They need you to feel like understand the pain that they're feeling. And so you say things like, hey, you mentioned that your biggest challenge was X. If we could solve that for you, would that be valuable to you? And listen, guys, that question, first time I ever heard somebody say that question in that manner, I was like, that is cheesy. I'm not doing that. Like, so cheesy, right? And then one day I said, why not? Right? Why not? Let's give it a shot. I said, hey, you mentioned that this house was way too big for you. If we could solve that for you, would that, how valuable would that be? And the person on the other side was like, oh my God, that would be so valuable. If you could help me with that, I would owe you. Like, I'd buy you dinner. And I'm like, oh shit, that cheesiness worked, right? It's understanding what to say and when to say it. So from what I understand, you're struggling with, give the challenge. What if I could offer a solution that directly addresses that? Oh, I would love that. That would be fantastic. Man, you know what? I'm so excited that we got to sit down and talk. Yeah, me too. Right? Handle objection or use storytelling instead of hard selling. Okay. So hard selling, super whack. All right. Storytelling, you know what? One of my clients had the same exact issue. Case study format, right? One of my clients had the same exact issue. And this is what we did. And now you should see how excited they are and how happy they are. Right? Or frame it as their idea. You know, you mentioned this problem. Imagine if you had the solution. What would that be like for you? Making them feel like it was their idea to begin with. Right? Remember earlier when I said make them feel like they taught you marketing. Like they're the ones who suggested that you get all that marketing material. Make them feel that way. Feel special. Right? Handle objections before they come up. Like, hey, I know some people worry about X, but we've seen it in X solutions. Handle the objections right away. Hey, you might be wondering about costs. Would it be helpful if I showed you how it saves you money rather than costs you money? That's a great one for FSBOs, by the way. Right? Because what are the NAR statistics, right? People who are for sale by owners typically sell for about 10 to 12% less than they would have sold if they sold it with a real estate professional. Meaning that paying the real estate professional 6% was significantly better than losing 10 to 12 without one. So instead of costing money, let me explain to you how it'll save you money. Let me explain to you about how spending this will actually save you money. With working with a professional will actually put more money in your pocket. Right? And then close with easy next step. Right? So so are you ready to buy? Right? Like right now, right? The assumptive close. Use an assumptive close. Right? This is another type of close, by the way. Right? So we talked about the uncomfortable close. This is the assumptive close. Does this sound like the kind of solution that would work for you? When would you like to get started? Should we move forward with signing the listing and getting photography scheduled? These are assumptive closes. This is you assuming they're ready to go forward and allowing the opportunity for them to go, absolutely. Now, there are times where you can use the direct close, which was a little harder, which is, that's wonderful. Let's sign this listing agreement so I can get right to work. But you have to know the type of personality that you're dealing with when you say things like that. And usually that has to be a high D personality that just wanted to get through this meeting as quickly as possible, loves you, like, you're good. We don't have to continue with this nonsense, like this banter back and forth. Let's just get this shit done. And that's the person that you look at and go, all right, cool. Let's go ahead and get this signed so I can get to work for you. Now, advanced strategies, you end on their terms, right? What is the best possible next step for you? And then let them make a final call. Guide that, right? So if they're not sure about signing the contract on the spot, you go, fantastic. Let me ask you this. What's the best next possible step for us to take? And hear what they have to say. Well, I want to interview 2 or 3 more people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I always like to bring humor into it. Somebody says, I have 2 more interviews that I have scheduled for today. So I'd like to get through those interviews, out of respect. And I'll get back to you later on tonight. And I like to joke and say, well, who are they? Maybe I know them and I can just call them and tell them not to come over. And I'll invite them to the first open house that we have, give them an opportunity to bring that buyer. right? By the way, I use that all the time, and people look at me for like a second, like, is he serious? And then they start laughing, right? Now, by the way, if they tell me and I do know who it is, I will pick up the phone and tell them I beat them out on the listing, not to come over in a nice way, right? Like, hey, Courtney, what's up, man? It's Dave Kurz. Hey, listen, that listing appointment you got later on today, seller felt bad, but she asked me to call you and cancel. I just got the listing right now. Love you, bro. Listen, I'm going to invite you in for the open house. I'm going to invite you in for the open house. Brother, I'm going to do a private showing for you and your clients. I will take great care of you. You let me know. All right, hon, later. Right? Of course, the entire time he's on the phone, he's like, yeah, brother, well, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. Then he hangs up on me. He goes, right? He starts cursing me out in his lonesome, right? Okay. Some bonuses on handling common method challenges. If they talk too much, like they're starting to derail the meeting, that happens when you have a high I personality across the table. They will definitely try to talk too much. Not only will they talk too much, but they will go way off subject. It won't even be about the house and the family anymore. It'll be about a trip to Europe that they took 3 years ago. And let me tell you what happened. Okay? And so you need to learn how to curtail it in by saying things like, hey, that's really great insight. Let's make sure we have enough time to go over how we can help you solve the situation you're in right now. Very nice way to put things, right? If they are resistant or skeptical, instead of arguing it, because now, listen, I have seen real estate agents argue with potential clients, arguing with somebody that they want to sign a contract with, right? And I go, what are you doing? Why are you arguing? Instead, do something like, what would have to happen for this to be a no-brainer for you? Like, what would be the one thing that happens right now that makes this a no-brainer for you? And whatever they say, if you can make it happen, you make it happen on the spot. And you go, here we are. Now it's a no-brainer. What do you say we move forward? All right, if they aren't engaging enough, those are your S's and your C's. If you guys understand the disc, I know I've been saying a lot of stuff, but use pattern interrupt, right? Very fun stuff to do. What's one thing you'd change about your business if time and money weren't an issue? That's a pattern interrupt. You're interrupting the pattern in their heads and the method that they're trying to use by not engaging with you, and feeling that now they have to like derail their thought process and think about, if money wasn't an issue and time wasn't an issue, what would I change about my business? Let me think about that. That's a really cool pattern interrupt, right? If by the way, if profit and commission was of no concern to you, what's the best possible price you'd like to sell this house at? Right? Now, when done right, the 10-80-10 strategy makes most people feel understood, valued, and naturally inclined to work with you. You're not selling them, you're solving their problem in a way that they cannot resist. They can't resist working with you. Okay? Now I'm going to show you, or I showed you this, right? This line right here. Now I'm going to show you the entire diagram. Because I just told you, this piece right here makes them feel understood, valued, and naturally inclined to want to work with you. So here we go. This is how it works. We started with this. You got your 10, 80, 10, right? Start, listen, pitch. Okay? And what happens if you understand their problem, okay? At the end, you're providing them with, that's not a very nice S. You're providing them with a solution. Okay? So if you understand the problem, what's the problem? Need to sell my house. Great. Let's go through this process because now I need to pitch you on a solution. If you provide an appropriate solution based on the information that they gave you, you provide value. if you provide value, well, people will pay you for value. Okay? So we go from problem to solution. If I have given you the solution, I am providing value. If I provide enough value, people will pay you for value. This is also for you to understand that if somebody's not willing to pay the commission that you're asking for, you have simply not provided enough value. Nobody goes into the Gucci store asking for a discount. Nobody goes to Valencia asking for a discount. When you provide enough value, people are willing to pay you for it. Not only will they pay you for it, but they will do the split R&R. What is the split R&R? They will refer you business and or they will return to you for more business. That's a horrible way of writing return. Hold on. I never said I had good handwriting, guys. Okay, that's your R&R. They will return to do business with you, or they will refer you business. Here's the fun part. When they refer you business, it comes right back here because you're going to get in front of that person. You're going to understand their problem to provide them a solution, to give them enough value that they will pay for so that they can either return or refer you again in the future. And the way that you're doing this is by having the absolute most effective conversation in the world using the 10-80-10 method and understanding the true reason why they are sitting in front of you and pitching them on exactly just that and how you can provide the actual solution for their problem. All right, now I'm going to read a couple comments here. I saw somebody write some stuff in here. Sadly, a lot of fellow colleagues I've met are just that way. It's only about the client being a means to an end. They don't make lasting connections. You're very right. John wrote that. It's very true, especially in this particular industry. This one, I would say car sales, things like that, where they just treat you like that next transaction and you don't feel valued as a client. You don't feel like you're a part of something bigger. They're just taking you through the process. And when they close, you're done. They're moving on to the next one, right? There's no relationship development. They don't make you feel like you're buying the most expensive thing you'll probably ever buy in your life, right? Like those things are important, okay? Kurz says people don't care as much about all the detail. They care about the solutions, and it's true. The problem is that you can't provide a significant solution if you don't understand the details. And that's when you don't provide the right value and then people start asking you, well, can we do this for 4%? No, we can't. Because I have a family to feed, a lot of family.
I typed that up, David, when you were talking about spilling everything, about just vomiting your worth, just laying it all out there may not be as necessary. They're more concerned not about what you say you can do, but how you're going to do it or if it's even real.
Yeah, very true too. Very true. Right? That's awesome because and that's why we're focused on the actual solution, like to the problem that they're addressing, instead of going, okay, but wait, there's more. Let me tell you about this like marketing thing, and let me tell you about this billboard I'm gonna do for you, and let me tell you about my ad flow on Meta, and check out my Meta background business. Like most people don't even know what Meta is, right? Like the majority of America understands Facebook and Instagram, have no idea who Meta is, right? So like these things, they're not necessary, Now, if one of their conversation pieces was, that they appreciate amazing marketing and things of that nature, and it seems like they understand it, then you make it a part of your solution for the sale of their home, right? All right, we're super solid, man. Thank you guys for joining us. 2 weeks from now, we're going to dig in even deeper and continue to have fun with this. I've already laid out like the next 3 months of what we're going to be discussing, and every step is going to just take you to one step closer to just being a more phenomenal real estate professional than you are today. All right, guys, talk to you guys soon, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.